Hello everybody, today's video is about Dating Allen Edmonds Shoes based on things like the logo, unique features such as this black and gold insole, and or the 4-digit date code that appeared on Allen Edmonds Shoes made from the early 1970s up until the early 2000s. Although I've done a video on how to date Allen Edmonds Shoes before, it said nothing about the date codes. This one is going to be way more in-depth. Okay, so let's go.
Robert Powers.
4.5 out of 5.
My shoe collection.
These are made of shell quarter.
Here they are finished up.
I'm not a professional. Look how tight this is though.
Very clearly here, I just cut the thread in half.
And here they are, all finished up. Okay, so here's kind of the premise for this video. As I said there in the intro, I have done a how to date Allen Edmonds Shoes video. I will link it in the description below. This one is going to be much faster paced with probably about 10 times as much information in it. What happens when I put out videos is the video itself will flush out information from other users. It's a pretty wonderful thing. So it's great and bad in a sense that I could never do a complete video. I'm just an Allen Edmonds enthusiast. I think I own 12 pairs of Allen Edmonds right now and about 28 pairs of shoes total. You know, between thrifting and stuff like that, I don't know, I've probably purchased and sold another, I'm guessing 50 pairs of Allen Edmonds. So I've got some photos of stuff here, you know, from the shoes I've had before. I'm going to show you, first of all, the logos. The logos progress. I'm going to go through that pretty quickly. So looking just at the logo on the shoe is going to narrow it down to a range of years. Then I'm going to show you the shoes that have a date code. And then I'm going to go into some of the other unique features. Okay. So let's start with the logos. This is what the other video that I did in 2018 was primarily centered around. So the logos I'm going to show you here, the earliest information I have is from about 1956. Why is that? Well, because ISSUU.com has Allen Edmonds catalogs starting in about 1956, more sporadically in the early years, up through present. So I can tell when a lot of these things were made based on these Allen Edmonds catalogs that you could access yourself online as well. Now, the first logo here, the Allen Edmonds logo, is kind of in a script font. I guess I would call it, with a capital A and the capital E and kind of that script font. That logo, as far as I know, was used before 1963. So 1962, I'm just going to call it 1956 to 1962 because I have no information before 1956. So this first logo from 1956 through 1962, possibly earlier. The next logo here is all caps, where the A and the E are larger capital letters, and it is kind of in italics. I think it's closest to like a Times New Roman font, but in italics, you know, you see the letters are leaned. As far as I know, this one was used from 1963 through 1982. Again, 63 to 82. Now, the next font here is all caps, and this is where all the letters are the same size and they're not in italics, and to me it looks like a Times New Roman font. This one was used from only 1983 through 1988, okay? So that narrows it down to 83 to 88 if you see this, all caps, not in italics. Now, 1989 brought a logo change. They used this logo for quite a while. You can see here it looks like Times New Roman font with only the A and the E capital. And this logo was used from 1989 through 2013. Again, 89 to 2013. And usually what you'll see, by the way, is you will see the Edmonds underneath the Allen and a little bit offset. Now, 2014, the text itself didn't change. You'll see the Allen Edmonds is still in that same Times New Roman, still has the same capital A, capital E, but they added what I call the 1922 badge, and then now usually that logo is inline, not Edmonds underneath the Allen. So if you see this logo, you know it's 2014 to late 2018. Allen Edmonds in the fall, I think it was about September, October, but it was definitely the fall of 2018, introduced what I call the military font, but the current logo that they're using as of the creation of this video here in January of 2023, I call it the military font. It's in all caps, kind of similar to the earlier logo they used, 83 to 88. But you see it is very different. It is, like I said, military font kind of gives the best description, and you'll see Port Washington underneath that. So if you see that, you know those were late 2018 and on. And by the way, I can tell you for a fact that you could see both logos. I worked in manufacturing engineering before, and if you have a logo change, I mean, for example, the Allen Edmonds MacNeils that I purchased had this new logo on the insole, and the outsole had the previous logo. I don't think something like that is critical for a shoe. So if they have old logos on the soles, it only makes sense to use those up. Next, I'm going to show you how to read the 4-digit date code. Now, as far as I can tell, the 4-digit date code was on Allen Edmonds shoes made between around 1972. I don't know if that's an exact date, but around 1972 through either 2003 or 2004. So let me show you the 4-digit date code. Here's a great typical example of the 4-digit date code. Now, what you see is you always have the shoe size and width. The width being in the letters. That'll be something like, I think AAA or quadruple A is the narrowest and triple E is the widest. And then you're going to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-digit date code, and then you see like on this one space 2-digit. I think that's batch. That's the batch that was made of shoes. And then I think that 2-digit code is, and I think they were made in batches of 12 or something like that. So that's not really too pertinent to what we're saying. But the letters and numbers on the bottom row, you see, for example, on this one, it says 5795. And then the word COMB, that stands for combination last. Combination last, a standard shoe, there's a 2-inch drop between the ball width. In this case, triple E is the ball width, the width of the shoe at the ball. Then so if you go 2 down, that would be, the heel would be an E width. So normally D width, a D and a B. So a D ball width would have a B heel. So that's what a combination last is, okay? So COMB, and then you see the number after that. In this case, the number is 0537. That's the date code, 0537. The word COMB may or may not be there, but the date code on the Allen Edmonds shoe is always the right one. Now, let me break down that code for you. The first 2 digits in the date code are the week of the year in which the shoes were made. Therefore, this number has to be a number between 01 and 52, because there are only 52 weeks in a year. The 3rd digit is the day of the week that the shoes were made. Therefore, this number needs to be a digit between 1 and 7. Now, the last digit in the date code is the last digit of the year in which the shoes were made. So in this case, these are 7. That means these shoes were made in a year ending in 7, the 5th week of that year, the 3rd day of that week. Does that kind of make sense? Now, the only time this gets a little bit tricky with the 4-digit date code is, for example, if you have a 2 with this logo here, that's the logo that was used from 1963 to 1982. Well, they didn't start using a date code until around 1972. So a 2 could be, in this case with this logo, 1972 or 1982. Later on in the video, I'll show you how to narrow it down based on some other features. Between 1983 to 88, if you have this all caps logo, it's pretty easy to nail it down because there's no repeating years. The trickiest is between 1989 to 2013, that stretch when they used this logo. So that means, for example, the year code of a 0 could be 1990 or could be the year 2000. 1 could be 91 or 01, 2 could be 92 or 02, 3 could be 93 or 03. And like I said, I'm not exactly sure, but I think in either 2003 or 2004 was the last year that date code ended. So if you see a 5's pretty much got to be 1995, a 6 has to be 96, 7, 97, 8, 98, 9, 99. I think you get the idea. Now, what about shoes made before 1972? Well, I don't have any way to nail those down exactly, and there aren't a lot of distinguishing features outside of that logo changing from 1962 to 1963. Here's a couple other points, though. On the shoes made, I think, this I'm not positive, but I think on the shoes made 1962 and earlier, they will say nailless heel cushioned insole, nailless. Nailless as in like no nails, these little wooden pegs that you can see here. Nailless heel cushioned insole. And you'll also see it's a full leather heel with what they call the owl's eye slug. And if you're familiar with the V cleat on Florsheim shoes, this is their version of that V cleat. They call the owl's eye slug, which is, I believe, a metal slug, and I think it was even covered in plastic. Now, I know that was available through, I think, around 1971 or 1972, possibly 1973. That being the full leather heel with the owl's eye slug. But I think after 1963 and later, I think that just became an option. I'm not sure. If you see the moniker Ostendo cushioned heel on the insole, which I'll show you here, Ostendo cushioned heel, I believe that was used from 63 until I know they used it in 1976, maybe 1977. Not 100% sure. 1992 and earlier, what you're going to see is the logo is axial. This is what I mean by axial, where you see the logo goes the length of the shoe front to back with the model name perpendicular. So you see how the model name is side to side. If you see that, that means they're 1992 or earlier. Now, there's also a couple unique insole styles that will help us narrow down the dates as well. Now, I believe Allen Edmonds used this sock liner. I believe it was usually something that went over top of the actual insole. But if you see this light brown colored with the beautiful gold lettering, that looks either like this without the 1922 badge or like this with the 1922 badge. I believe this was either 2008, but definitely 2009 through about 2017. Again, this brown insole with the gold lettering, I guess this would be debossed into it. Then this was, I think, 2009 to 2017. Now, if you see this style here, that is black, the black insole with the gold lettering, that I believe was used from 2008 to 2012. Again, black and gold, 2008 to 2012 only as far as I can tell based on looking at Allen Edmonds catalogs. Now, you guys that are my age bracket, Gen X's or older, will know that Made in the USA hasn't always been something that was advertised because, 1970s, earlier, everything was made in the US, really. So, but Made in the USA, started, I believe, in 1978. So if you see Made in the USA anywhere on the shoe, then that really means it was made 1978 or later. Now, the way that they put not a Made in the USA on the shoes even changed throughout the years. I believe it's going to look like this from 1978 to 1982. And then in 1983 through 1988, I believe it's going to look like this. Notice it says the handcrafted world of Allen Edmonds, Made in USA, with that 83 to 88 logo. Then from 1989 until 2004 or maybe 2005, I believe it looks like this, just simply Made in the USA. Now, I think in either 06 or 07, 2006 or 2007, it changed to Made in USA of imported materials, as you can see here. Then I believe in 2017, it changed to Handcrafted in USA of fine imported leather. And I believe it stayed that way until 2018 when they changed to the military font logo with Port Washington, where it's almost the same, but it says Handcrafted in America of fine imported leather, which I still believe they say that today. They started to put the lining info under the tongue rather than on the side of the shoe in, I believe, 2011. Now, that doesn't mean they stopped putting the lining info on the lining in 2010. I've seen examples where they had the lining info on the side of the lining of the shoe, like this, through 2013. Let's help narrow down this date range from 1989 to 2013. From my research, in either 2000 or 2001, Allen Edmonds started cutting a groove in the outsole. Let me show you the difference. So it's either, again, 2000 or 2001 was the first time, but before this, they would stitch the outsole without cutting a groove first. You can see here the threads are kind of flush, almost above the surface of the leather sole because of the thread tension and the, the squishiness of the leather, the threads pull down in. Where you can see here in 2000, 2001 and later, they actually cut a groove and then stitched into the groove, and sometimes they would miss the groove. My understanding is that it helps the longevity of the shoe because you can wear into the leather longer before you actually cut into the threads. Outsole stitch density is another difference. The outsole stitch density earlier on was 7 to 8 stitches per inch, I believe, and it varies based on the operator and machine and, I think, and feed and some of those things. I believe they went down to about 4 to 5 stitches per inch somewhere in the early 2010s. It was either around 2010, 11, or 12 that they switched over to the lower stitch density. Okay guys, so let me go through and date some of these shoes that we've got right here. I'll show you specific examples of what I just listed. Now, first of all, this beautiful pair here, I bought these NOS, but this has, if you see, first of all, that logo narrows it down to 83 to 88. You can see the date code there, 5795 is the model number, and you can look those up, and if they still make the model, like the Fifth Avenue, a lot of those are still on their website, Allen Edmonds website today. But 0537 is the date code. So that means these were made in the 5th week, 3rd day of that week, 5th week, 3rd day of that week, in a year ending in 7. That makes these clearly 1987. And here's what I mean by that high stitch density, and you see no groove on the outsole. So let's go to this pair here. And this is a pair of Sanfords. Now you see this is the 89 and up logo, and we see a date code of 3522. That's a year ending in 2. So that means this could be 92 or 02, but I know they're not 02 because you see the high stitch density with no grooving cut into the outsole. So that's 1992 model. Next here's another pair of Sanfords, and it's hard to see, but we do have that same logo. These are 95, and here you see the date code 0255 is before the word com, but it's still the right number, so that's a year ending in 5, again 1995, and I know that because of, oh, by the way, this one's kind of interesting. Do you see that hammer logo? That is a little hammer, okay? So that hammer means that these were recrafted. So these were recrafted, this has the later sole, so these are recrafted after about 2000, 2001, and that's why you see, I started to speak too soon, there is a groove cut that those outsole stitches didn't sit into, so these still must be in 1995 that were recrafted. Now, here's a pair of Park Avenues. You can see, again, the 89 to a 2013 logo. We see a date code of 1131, so that makes these 2001 because I didn't use a date code in 2011. And here you can see there's a groove cut, and you can see over here, it's kind of interesting if you look closely. If you look closely over here, they actually missed the groove. Do you see that? The outsole stitches actually don't fall into that groove, but 2001 Park Avenues. Here's a pair of Hastings. This pair of Hastings, again, 89 through 2013 logo, and we see a no date code. Now, I know these that were made in 2004 and 2005 only. Why? Well, because I look up the model number, which is, in this case, I believe the model number is the 1205. It's always 4-digit. You look up Hastings in the Allen Edmonds ISSU.com catalog listing, and they only made it in 2004 and 2005, right? So that's how I know the date of this shoe. I put that heel on, okay? And again, we see high density stitching cut into a groove. Here's a beautiful pair of Leylands, and we see this logo. This style insole was only used through 2008 through 2012. No date code again, because they stopped using it. But I know these are 2008 because they only made this model in 2007 and 2008. And this would have had the other color insole, the tan colored insole in 2007. So therefore that makes these a 2008. Now here's a beautiful pair of Shreveports. I really like these shoes. Here you can see that logo with the 1922 badge on it. This would have all been gold, but I've worn these enough to wear it out. And you see they started here to put the information under the tongue, no date code. Now, these though are actually 2007 model number only, so the only reason I know the date on these is because this is a unique model, and I guess they only made this style that 1 year from what I see in the logo. And here are a pair of MacNeils, and I personally bought these brand new in 2017. This was September of 2017, and you see that you see the logo there that I already previously spoke about, and you see the model information is, as I said, under the tongue, and you can kind of see it there. And forgive the green laces, I was wearing these during the holiday times, but I love these shoes. Aren't they gorgeous? Now next here, pair of MacNeils, MacNeil 2.0. These I purchased, and I'll cut in a picture here as well, but these I purchased in 2019. This is June, Father's Day of 2019. These shoes have been featured in a few different videos. When I got them, you can see here, they did not have this sole on. They had a different sole on, and because of a factory defect, I had to send them back and they put a new one on, but anyway, I know these are 2019, yeah, because, you know, like I said, I know when I bought them. So these I bought in February of 2020. Again, same Newport, Washington logo, pair of Park Avenues. I gotta fix the toe, sorry about that. But you know, in this date range here, the late 2018 through 2022, 23, there's really no way to, you know, really tell them apart that I can tell, but I don't think we're really all that concerned. This is another pair I bought during the pandemic. Again, one of my favorite pairs of shoes, pair of Strands, one of my 10,000 step shoes. And these are a 2020 model, trying to focus on the interior there. And again, model info underneath the tongue. So there's some examples for you. Now, if you've noticed through any of this, in some things I said this was used from this year to this year, sometimes with some features I was a little more vague, like about or approximately started in this year, or this year. I try to weigh my words carefully. To be very frank with you, the more I looked into this, like the more a little bit cuckoo I started to get, because you can find examples that just don't match. And I believe that is because Allen Edmonds probably was making different parts of different shoes in different departments. You know, they may have had different sections of the factory. I know sometime in the 80s they had a factory that burned down. They probably have old stock, old linings get used with new uppers. I'm just guessing, things like that. Or old soles I know would get used with new uppers. Things like that, where there's probably overlaps in years of production. So some of the things just probably didn't change all at once, okay? Okay, so how about we put you guys to the test? I'm gonna show you a few different ones here, show you the features, give you a few seconds, and then you tell me which years they are. You ready? Let's go. So here's an example of a pair of Allen Edmonds Brentwood's nice looking shoe I featured in a video. Now first, let's look for a logo. Well, you can't really tell the logo from the insole, but the logo on the insole does at least say Allen Edmonds. Here's a clue: nailless, heel cushioned. Notice the logo is axial with the model name perpendicular. If we keep looking on the interior of the shoe, it does not have a date code. See, it says COMB 4315 is the model number, so there's no date code. Now, let's look around the shoe a little more. We do see on the interior, though, remnants of, it's ripped, but there we can see the remnants of the logo, and it is that scripted logo. You can definitely see that E is scripted. The soles are too beat up to really be able to see any logo on the sole. Oh, but here's another clue. Those are wooden pegs. Those are not nails. That's why it said nailless heel with an owl's eye slug. So, when were these made? 3, 2, 1. I don't know the exact year, but these are 1962 or earlier. Okay, this one should be super easy. Here's a pair of Allen Edmonds Belgiums. And by the way, these were corrected grain. This is an Adelaide Oxford. Now first, let's look at the logo. We see the all caps, not military font, with the flush stitching, no outsole groove. So you know this is the 1983 to 1988 logo. If we look at the date code, it's a 4428. What are the first 2 digits again? The week. What's that middle digit, number 2? Day of the week, and then the number 8 is the year. You got that right. So this means this is what year? This was 1988, because it's the only year between 1983 to 1988, ending with an 8. I told you this one was easy. Okay, this one might be a little bit trickier. This is a pair of Allen Edmonds Marlows. Beautiful shoe here. These were featured in a recent video. You can see here's the condition before, and on the toe, and the heels, and here's a condition after, and that same toe, and new heels that I put on. But anyway, let's see here the logo. Now you should know that this logo was used when? That was a logo that we used from 1989 through 2013. Now, is there any other clues here? We do see that the model name is perpendicular with the logo axially. So what does that narrow it down to? Well, that narrows it down to approximately 1992 or earlier. Now, if we look at the date code, we see a date code here with the last digit. What is the year? It is a 1. So let's put all this together. If we go by the last year of 1, this can't be 81 because of the logo. So it could be 91 or 01, but it's not 01 because of the type of insole logo with a particular model. Now let's verify this by looking at the 1991 Allen Edmonds catalog, and we do see the Marlow here. And by the way, do you see the model number 4187? This is burgundy polished cobbler, also known as corrected grain. But if we go to the 2001, this is the fall 2001, no Marlowe. Spring 2001, no Marlowe. So that proves my theory. This is definitely a 1991. Another one, here's a pair of Allen Edmonds Daltons. Now we see this one does have the 1989 to 2013 logo. If we look on the insole, we do see COMB and the date code 5045. So now you know it's a year ending in 5. It can't be 85 because of the logo. So this is 95 or 05. Well, which is it? 95 or 05? By 05 they did not use a date code anymore, so this one is, you got it, 1995. Here's a nice after shot as well. This one was featured in one of my videos as well in my playlists. Here's another one. This is a pair of Allen Edmonds Parklands. This is actually just a couple shots from eBay. Now this one does not have a date code, but we can tell from the insole logo that this one was the 89 to 2013. But if you look in the 2006 AE catalog, no Parkland. 2007, there's the Parkland. 2008, no Parkland. Again, these catalogs are from issuu.com. So this one is a 2007. We were able to narrow it down because it was just a model that they only made in 1 year. Here's a pair of Allen Edmonds Winhalls. Now this one has no date code, but we see the black and gold lettered insole. So this means 08 through 2012. Well, to narrow it down any further, let's go to the 2008 catalog. 2008 catalog, they do have this model, but not in this model number 6458. So then we go to 2009 and we see they did make model 6458. It does not show up in 2010 or the 2011 catalog or the 2012. And therefore, this is a 2009 model number year. Here's another one. By the way, this is a pair of size 14 Allen Edmonds Carlyles that I thrifted. Again, video linked in the description. But this is what they looked like before. You can see the back shoe is before. The left shoe in the front is after stripping. But if we look in the lining, there is no model number info. It is under the tongue. Now, here's the biggest tip. If you look at the logo on the outsole or on the insole, it has the 1922 badge with the words Allen Edmonds inline. So if you remember, Allen Edmonds inline 1922 badge, that's 2014 through 2018. We know it's not 2019 because they have the new current logo, the military font, in 2019. So this one is made between 2014 to early, mid, is possibly as late as fall 2018. Can't narrow it down anymore, unfortunately. Let's do one more, shall we? So this is a pair of Allen Edmonds Cornwallis, and you can see here based on the insole, that tan insole with the gold lettering, that's got to be 2014 through 2017. Now we can narrow it down a little bit more because if we see the 2014 and 2015 Allen Edmonds catalogs, there was no Cornwallis. So that means this is either 2016 or 2017, maybe 2018, depending on when they stopped that insole. So I hope that kind of helps. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching. And by the way, you got to make sure to do this if you have a jacket that has surgeon's cuffs on it. But in all seriousness, I hope this brought you some value. And actually, I'm going to put a PDF copy of this, the spreadsheet, you know, the graph that I showed you here with all the different features on it, and the PDF document that I kind of assembled. I'm going to put both of those. I'm going to link them in the description below. I'm going to put them on Imager where you should be able to click on them and download them yourselves, okay? And it's just for your personal use. All right, God bless you guys. Have an amazing day and go find yourself some Allen Edmonds and date them, okay? Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, go to my YouTube page, Robert Powers, and then click on playlists. And from there, you can go to things such as before and after videos, where you'll find a whole list of videos similar to this one.